Hey guys, Kiki Fit Cosplay here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made these reversible cotton masks. They are included with a wire in the top to frame around your nose, some elastics to loop around your ears, and it also has a small opening in the bottom that you can slip any HEPA filter or shop towels or whatever you want to use for a little extra security, or you can just wear them the way they are. So first off, I'm going to show you guys what you need to make one of these masks. It would be 2 sheets of cotton, which is 8 inches by 6 inches. You can either use the same color for both if you wanted it just one plain mask, or you can use 2 different colors for the reversible effect. And then you are also going to need 2 elastic bands that are approximately 8 inches long and a 4-inch piece of wire. I used an old jewelry cording wire from the store. It was cheap, it keeps its shape, it's very easy to bend, and it's also got like a small plastic coating on the outer edge which softens the edges so they won't really poke through. You can also try using pipe cleaners or twist ties for bags, anything like that, but if they have sharp edges, I just recommend that you fold the edge over so it's a softer edge so it won't poke through the fabric if you are using a sharper, thinner type of wire. So as long as you have all of this and the sewing machine, of course, we can get started. Okay, so we're going to start by making the bottom edge, which is the edge that will have the opening slit. We want to do a double rolled edge for that. So you take both pieces one at a time, roll the edge over once, and again. I mean, if you want to make the mask a little bit longer than 6 inches, if you want a bigger seam, you can. I just do a really tight little roll. It looks very clean when you actually have them together. And I do the double roll so that the frayed edges won't come out here after washing them, because they are reusable and they'll be in the wash several times. So I start by just kind of feeding that through the machine first. So now we've got that little seam there, nice rolled edge, it's nice and clean, and now we're going to do the exact same thing to this sheet here. Your second one. So once you've got both edges together, oh, there's strings. You're gonna want to line the fabric up. There we go. So then you want to line those edges up so they're nice and even, but you don't sew there. You sew this line here. I just want to make sure that they're going to match up evenly with the edge when it's done, and that the hems are even. I don't know, I'm crazy. I do things backwards. Do it how you feel at this point. I also don't like pins. They stab me too often that I don't like to use them. So I just go slower and I my eye on things. Okay. So now you got two pieces together. There's a line in the middle, both edges. And now what you're going to do is you can press this line with an iron or however you want. I often use the edge of my table, just so you can get an idea of where you are. And then you're going to want to fold it in half so you know where the middle is. And at this point you can use whatever you have on hand to mark it. I like chalk because it comes right off, since this will be shown and you can see it. I would recommend you using a chalk or whatever else can wash away. Or if you want and you don't have chalk or pen or anything, you don't want to use pen. That's the bottom line. Okay. This is fun. I don't even know where I am right now. What day is it? So if you don't have chalk to mark this, I would recommend just pinning it so you know where that spot is in the middle. Use a small pin, and then you take your wire, which I have one preset here, and you can fold your wire in half to see where you are, and then once you find the middle there, you can straighten it out and take your chalk again or use a pin and mark both sides of the wire. Another way you could do this if you didn't want to use the wire is you could measure out the 4 inches and then do just on the outside of the 4-inch mark. So you just have a little bit of wiggle room in between. And now you want to make sure that the seam is nice and lined up here. I'm going to sew down this line here at, I believe it's about 1/4 inch. I'm really bad with the measurements on the machine, so let me just see here. Find your chalk mark, put it in, and yes, it's the quarter inch mark. I swear I know how to sew. I just don't follow those things on the board. So you want to sew from the one line to this bottom line, and then once you get to the bottom line, you're going to sew a line up here to kind of make an L shape with your stitch. So you want to back stitch, make sure it's secure, and run along the line. Keep the foot in, turn your project 90 degrees, and then I just go back and forth at this point. So up and back, and up and back. Do this about 3 or 4 times just so you know that it's a good stitch there and the wire won't poke through very easily. So you've got, which side's easier to see? I don't know, it's all colorful. You've got your line across the middle, and then you've got the one there. Trim all your excess string. So then you take your wire, whichever piece it may be, and you slide that in to your project. Once the wire is in, you can kind of feel where it is. I like to push it with my nails as close as I can to that bottom seam so it's straight. This really helps to straighten the wire. And then you should be able to feel the end where the wire ends. So it's right there, but I like to go just a little bit off to the side from that. So start by doing the back and forth a few times to keep it in place. And then I stop in the middle of that so that your project is, I don't even know if you can see it, but the needle is sitting right in between the layer, like it's right in the middle there. And I'm gonna sew, I guess, 1/8 of an inch all the way up, but you want to make sure that the wire is as close to this line as you can get it. So just gotta make sure I push that right to the edge, and then you start to sew slowly. Okay. And just as you go, make sure that it's still pushed over there. This is why I use a different wire to mark the halfway mark. This is like my sacrificial wire, because it does, when you fold it in half that dramatically, it will leave a little bit of a kink, so it would be harder for it to like stay straight along that edge. That's why if you don't want to waste your wire, I would recommend using the 4-inch measurement or measuring tape to measure the amount there. Now let's get to the end, little back stitch, and voila. You got your wire in this little pocket there. It's nice and safe, and now you can bend it and it will stay in place and it's not going anywhere. Just cut the rest of the threads off there. Okay. Now comes the part with the elastic. We're going to be sewing the sides and then a little portion this way. But hold on, I honestly, I've done this so many times, I've kind of just forgotten 2-inch. So you'd have like a 2-inch inward, and then you stop there, backstitch a few times, and then you do the same on the other side, which will leave this spot open, and that's where you're going to be slipping everything through. So start by taking the edges and kind of just, we'll be rolling them in. And again, you can use an iron to iron these edges, make them all nice and clean and crisp. Or if you're like me and you just can't deal with that ironing stuff, you can get it into place, find exactly where you want your seam to sit, which I think that looks very good. Wait, I lied. There we go. That's better. And I take the edge of the table or sewing machine, and you just hold these tight and you push along each edge, and it kind of presses it for you. So there's that. And if you want to be secure, you can pin it right here. Again, pins are my enemy, and I end up in more bloodshed than ever if I use them. I really want to get those wonder clips. That would be an amazing thing for this right now. Then you take your first part of the elastic, slide it in about that much, half an inch or so. Just slide that in so it's nice and secure. And hold it in place as you sew back and forth. I do, I guess, 1/8 of an inch stitch along this edge, just so it's nice and tight to the edge. And I sew back and forth 2 or 3 times, just so I know that the machine's, going through the elastic enough, and the elastics aren't going to come off when you go to stretch them over your face. So then you'll go halfway up this edge. Don't go all the way to the edge just yet, because you're going to take the, hold on, we'll make sure this is right and you can see it. You're going to be taking this elastic here, and if you were to take the elastic and fold it in half, right, it would be straight. You want to make sure that the elastic band is not going to twist on you, so you want to make sure it will meet. And you take that edge here, and if you can picture yourself folding the mask in half this way and then the elastic this way, it's it's a little confusing. That's why if you are nervous about this step, you can always pin it all in place so you know exactly where everything goes. I've just done this enough times that I know exactly how it goes. So then you keep sewing along that edge. And again, there's another elastic piece, so you want to backstitch a couple times. And then I like to line it up because you have that seam on the bottom edge, right? So if you line your needle up with the edge. Oh, I need one more. There we go. And you want to start stitching 2 inches in, or my 2-inch mark is actually this line here. So what I do is when I'm at the corner, I look at where I am in the fabric, and you can make a small mark. And yeah, go that way. 2 inches in. And then backstitch a few times. If you did want to mark it first with your chalk, so you're at this point, you've got it pinned right here. Let me just put a pin in for the heck of it here. Okay. There's a pin. So you want to mark it from here, so you take your measuring tape from this point, measure 2 inches in. That's it. That's how easy it is. So we're at this point, we've got the mask almost done, almost. We have to do the sides now. The ones I trim all my edges. Oh, I hate those edges. The little threads. Okay, so now we gotta make those little pleats in the side. I guess there is a scientific way of doing this, but I go about 1.5 inches, which is, I know for a fact it's this much of my finger, and then I fold it back. So we've got 1.5 inches here, and then you take that about 1/2 inch, tuck it back, bring it forward, and then another 1/2 inch would be here, tuck it to that last pleat, and then again. So it'll look something like this, and you can iron it at this point. I do the whole, you know, press, secure, make sure it's all in place. I do give a pull so you can kind of see where those lines are going to be, and then you can just kind of hold it on this side. So you want to make sure that the edges, bring the machine up here again, the edges are all going to line up on the edge here, because if one of these are sticking out or it's tucked in, it's just going to look funny because it is a double-sided one, so you want to make sure that those edges are completely straight. You can even lift this up here if the needle's in and everything's in place. Make sure all of those are straight. So I'll go through the first one. clunk, clunk, clunk. And then I take that second one, make sure that's tucked in there and still straight. Clunk, 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 clunk. Another way you can tell if it's straight is if the thread matches up on the pleats, because if they don't match up, then it's probably crooked somewhere along those lines. So you want to just make sure all those lines are matching up. And you sew directly on that last line, and then I do a little back stitch here so it stays nice and secure. I fold the mask in half at this point, and I make sure, because sometimes the pleats can shift a little, I want to make sure that they match on both sides and that it all looks good. See? Like that. And then this side will be done on the opposite side of the machine. Just because the pleats are going down still. You want to make sure they're going down and not up. Otherwise the little seam, the crease in the middle won't really match up. Alright, and with that, the mask is done. So you've got your mask, it's two-sided, got your little pocket to put your filters in, you've got the little wire for the nose piece, and your straps to wrap around your ears. So if you liked this sewing tutorial, feel free to give my video a big thumbs up, and if you want to see more tutorials like this, subscribe to my channel. And let me know in the comments actually if you prefer to see real life kind of tutorials like this mask, or if you prefer to see the cosplay side of things, because I mean, I'd be happy to do both. I just want to know what you guys would rather see me do. Either way, I'm going to keep doing my cosplay tutorials. It's just whether or not I do these as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments, and see you guys next video. Bye!
Mm-hmm.